Hello again, everyone. It's Rob Ryder. And today, you have a claim. That's what I was told by the state of Michigan's insurance broker when I had informed them of a commercial general liability insurance protection I was looking for. So, if you didn't know, your state has general liability insurance, and so does your counties, and so do your cities, and all these entities have a general liability insurance policy of one kind or another. And most companies do. And if you've ever been a subcontractor, many times the other company asks you for a certificate of your insurance. And if you've never asked for one, what they end up getting by doing that is a certificate from your commercial liability insurance policy, the agent, adding them as a additional insured on your policy. Because at the end of the day, your general liability insurance policy isn't for you to claim on; it's for your those you injured to claim on. And so, it's like, okay, well, can I claim to be an additional insured on the general liability insurance of the state and file a claim? And well, I was told I could. So we'll see how that goes. So what this video is then is the how, right from the occurrence of the strict liability. That's important. You may want to remember some of these things. The strict liability intentional torts, covered offenses, to confirmation of claim, and what I saw along the way. So, it turned out it wasn't hard to get a copy of the state's general liability insurance policy. I just had to do it by a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act request, to the entity of the state that handles insurance, right? The risk management entity. And in Michigan, they got a particular Department of Financial Services or something or other, DFSA, or I can't remember exactly what it is, but every state has one. Somebody's handling the risk management of the state. And so they would be the people that could provide a copy of the state's plan. The same with the county, right? So I've done it with my county. Well, not my county. They haven't given me one yet, but they say they're going to. But another county that I have an issue with, Montcalm County, I got a copy of theirs, and I got a copy of the state's, and Rosita got a copy of her county's, and so if you ask for them, they will send them to you. So what does all that mean? Let's go find out here. Today is Sunday, March 8th, 2020, and my email is courtofrecord@aol.com. It's the easiest way to get a hold of me. You could use my phone, but I'm not always here, and I can't always call back, and sometimes it gets to be really busy, and I just get tired of talking on the phone. But if you're going to contribute and you want to call, well then, contribute and then call. Because I could certainly use the contributions, because it isn't done until it's over, and this is still part of the journey, but I'm going to show you every step that I've done. And if it works, it's really simple to do, and it's a no-brainer. You just file a claim against their insurance. So I really hope that's what works, and they just pay my claim. But I still have to pay my rent for March, and it's the 8th, and I'm late by quite a bit, as you can see. So if you can help me out, brothers or sisters, thank you very much. I pray for you. I pray for all of us. You can send it by PayPal, robryder@aol.com, or you can send it in the mail to Robert Allen Retluski, 10955 14 Mile Road, Northeast Rockford, Michigan, 49341. Oh, but hopefully I don't have to ask much longer, because I was told I have a claim. Now, let's go see how that started and where we are today. So give me just a second. Hey, probably what we should do first is look at a definition or two. One thing I found in this insurance stuff is they have terms they like to use, and they put quotes around them, and then you'll find a definition page where all these words that had quotes are defined, and that's where you find the meat and potatoes of all this, right? So And other ones are just, they seem to be terms of insurance that when you go look, like this, what I'm showing you now is just the definition of additional insured from Wikipedia. It's just easier for me to show you on cut and paste, copy and paste. But this is what it says about, well, hang on a second. Okay, hey, sorry about that, but that was Spectrum, my internet provider, asking for money. So, really, before we go any further, back here, I really do need your help, like right now, so I can take care of these bills I have for today and move on with getting a confirmed claim paid by the insurance policy. So that's what we're going to be talking about. But before we can do that, let's look at what it means to be an additional insured. Are you copying? Yes, you're going ahead. Okay. So this is from Wikipedia, and it says, in U.S. insurance policies, an additional insured is a person or organization that enjoys the benefits of being insured under an insurance policy in addition to whoever originally purchased the insurance policy. So this isn't for who's paying for it. This is for somebody else, and that's what we want to be. Now, I'm still believing that we should have our own general liability insurance policy, right, and have it in your name as you as a sole proprietor, and you would have your own protection that this is where you are liable, so you need to have liability insurance. And I showed these ideas in my last video. That was it was called "Reading the Back of the Can," which is on Rob Ryder, ROBBBRYDER. Right? If you've never been to my videos and somebody sent you here to see what I'm talking about, well, I've talked about a lot of things. A lot of things about the military, a lot of things about the way the government's not really the government because nobody has a proper oath of office and so forth and so on. And, I'm sticking to it. That's my claim, and I'm sticking to it. And it's actually part of the claim I put in, and, well, we'll see what happens. So, I'm saying I'm an additional insured on the state of Michigan's insurance policy, is what it came down to. And then went from there and, wrote a statement of claim and sent it to the broker. And it was on Friday afternoon at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And by, 2:15, 2:30, they're calling me. And I can't remember exactly what the lady said. I was kind of, I'm not used to getting calls that quick in something I did. And so, yeah, she said to me that she was calling to tell me that she something or other with my information that I had sent her earlier to the agent and the something or other, right? So it's these couple of different terms. I don't remember what she said, but basically she was forwarding it to the agent and to this other entity, which is like the overseer of the agent. And I said, well, is that, that's good. But is it good or bad for me? And she said, oh, it's good. It says you have a claim. Okay, so I don't know if it's a claim because I'm an additional insured or not, but that's the way I'd written it up. And so, it's interesting to look at these and see who the additional insured actually is that they've actually put into the policy. Okay, an additional insured often gains the status by means of an endorsement added to the policy, which either entitles an additional name, party names, by a general description contained in a blanket additional insured endorsement. So you can either have your name on there, just your name, or they can, you're covered into the blanket addition. Okay, the extension of coverage to people with constant and close relationship to named insured company is accomplished via the who is an insured section of the liability insurance policy. I say it's talking to us. We have a relationship with the state, so, well, then I need to have a copy of their insurance. I need to be added to their insurance. And so I actually asked them to send me a certificate of insurance. But while I'm waiting for that to come, I said, I'm just going to go ahead and put it in and say that I am and see what they say. It seems to be the right thing to do. You don't need the certificate. You just need to file the statement of claim to the proper officer. And not at the state, but, the broker or the agent or the whoever they say it is to give it to. So typically a larger, more powerful business will require smaller entities desiring to do business, right? Parentheses, desiring to do business, have the larger business named as an additional insured. Well, there's no reason you can't do the same to them. You want to do business with me, then add me to your insurance policy. Otherwise, we're not doing business. So that's the idea, right? That's really all an additional insured is. You didn't pay for it, but you're the one that's being protected by the insurance policy, basically. Okay, so what did I do? Well, I had shown in that video, read the back of the can, that I had gotten this ticket back just about a year ago now. And I had all sorts of errors on it. I've done videos in the past on it. If you went back to March, if you're looking through those videos of 2019, you would see me first talking about this, and you can kind of follow through and see where I've talked about it in other videos. But, this, when you get a ticket, first thing it says state of Michigan at the top, right? So who's responsible? It's the state of Michigan. It doesn't matter who gave it to you. State of Michigan's problem. So their agents working for the state of Michigan, handing out these pieces of paper, are putting errors into the record, which are technically they're intentional torts. And that's what general liability insurance is for. It's only for torts, for being wronged. It's not for, contract disputes. It's because you were wronged. And so everything's about being a tort. And because it's a fictitious entity that did it, they have this idea of intention or strict liability torts, which means it doesn't matter if the person doing it meant to do it or, he knew that he was committing the crime, the tort, the wrong. The fact that the facts show that it happened is all that's required to energize the policy to pay the claim. They just have to have done it, and you have proof that what they did was a wrong. And on every ticket, that the proof is there. So on my particular ticket, what did mine have here? Right? It had that I had a driver's license number. Well, and I had operators checked. Well, I don't have an operator's license. All right, I have a Michigan State ID. I intentionally did not get an operator's license, and yet there it is saying that I have one. Right, but they didn't put my last 4 digits in here, so who are we talking about? This is the thing about official forms. They have to be filled out. If they're not filled out, then there's an error. And so there's errors or omissions on this document. They know the color of my hair. It's on my license. How come it didn't print out here? So they're intentionally, these torts are intentionally embedded into the document. What else did we have? Oh, I didn't have no plate. That was the idea. I was driving around with a thing that said sample on it that I had gotten from the state of Michigan because you can order a sample plate. So I did, put it in my car, and I drove around for, a couple of years till I got stopped in a parking lot. So goes on, right? County Montcalm, well, now they're involved. Right? They got themselves involved. In the city of Greenville, they involved themselves. And, well, as it turns out, these people have liability insurance. Go figure. Where's the thing in here about being in the military? Active military. Where are you at? Oh, okay. First of all, they said I violated a state ordinance or a local ordinance, right? Here's the 3. Local ordinance, state law, or administrative rule. Well, I come down here, and it's like authorization pending, whatever this is supposed to be, but 8271 is not a local ordinance of the city of Greenville. Right? They don't have numbers like that. So whose are these? And they're misdemeanors. And I think if it's a misdemeanor, it can't be a city that gives you a misdemeanor. It has to be, they can do civil infractions. 90 days or less. And after that, I thought it went to misdemeanor. And that kind of stuff had to be done by the state until, the district court, until it got to be a felony level. And then it went to the circuit court. But now they said I had misdemeanors. But they don't list any Michigan Vehicle Code violations. They just have some words. No operator's license, multiple ops. Right? So it's improperly done. These, you would say, if you were from Michigan, well, that's the Michigan compiled law that goes with these offenses. But it isn't, because the Michigan compiled law, to be properly cited, has to start with an MCL. So we know what those numbers go to. Otherwise, it's just 6 numbers separated with a period. 2 groups of 3. Goes on. Okay, and then check if appropriate. Check. Where's the one over? Oh, person in active military service. Well, veteran, if you're a veteran, you are in active military service because you never received a administrative separation order that says you're separated from the custody and control of the military. Right? In fact, most veterans' DD-214s say that they were released to the reserves. They don't have any evidence that anything ever happened other than that. Or it might say that you were released on unpaid leave. Or on mine, because it has an NA up in Block 9, it makes me believe that, well, I was medically discharged. Right? And I was disability retired. And I've showed in many videos, if you go look at the Michigan Retirement, or the Military Retirement Fund, Google that online and go read their audit, you see the thing's got $1 trillion in it of excess retirement pay that hasn't been claimed. Right? So it's being deposited because it hasn't been claimed. That's because there's errors in the record intentionally put there so that is where your retirement money is going to, that they retired you. Right? This was their decision, whoever they are. They retired you, retained you, retired you, gave you retirement pay, but they're not giving it to you. It's just going in this account, and then they that are in the know live off of the $120 billion a year they charge to run the damn fund. Right? So somebody's making good money on our unpaid or paid but unclaimed retirement. Enough on that tangent, right? But hey, you didn't check the box, so I say that that's a tort. I am on active military service, so there's a reason to file a claim, right? So there's all sorts of reasons to file a claim. Then they list this court down here with this Montcalm Co. in its name, and there is no court called the 64B District Court - Montcalm Co. Right? There could be a 64B District Court, state court, possibly, but it doesn't have Montcalm Co. in its name. There is no Steve DeWitt, right? That's not his full legal name. That's not the name of his driver's license or on his birth record, I'm quite sure. So it wouldn't be the name that's on the document that says that person is licensed to be a law enforcement officer. So, now Steve DeWitt thought he did everything right. He did everything the way he was told. But it doesn't matter. It's still an intentional tort. And therefore, I can file a claim against it. According to the boilerplate, claim information that makes up the general liability insurance policy, which I was showing in my other video, right? That's what got me on this thing in the first place, was actually reading what's in a general liability insurance policy. I say, holy shit. I think I could use this to my advantage. Well, anyways, those tickets led to this, right? Where I got this from the state of Michigan, right? Saying that me at this address with this license number. Again, I don't have a license number. There's nothing on my state identification that would lead me to believe that what they're showing is a license number. But that's what they're calling it. And it has a court file number, and now I have these other violations that are using different words than were used on the ticket, but they're still not citing any Michigan compiled law or any ordinance number. There's nothing to tie this to anybody's book. It's more like the common law or the law of customs. And I had the court. Now this court doesn't have Montcalm Co. on it, and the address is different, and the phone number's not the same, and on and on and on. It's like, man, this shit's really wrong. I should be able to complain about this. Which I have been ever since it happened. And, here we are a year later still complaining. But this is what I did. So, hey, now let's get to what I did. So I decided I was going to write me a statement of claim based on what I read in the policy. And we're going to go look at the policy last, I guess. Let's get through the nuts and bolts of what. Right? Because look, this is a one-page document, right? And based on this document, I was told I have a claim. The story continues on Monday. Like I said, this was, 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday, I'm getting a call from somebody I had just emailed just a couple hours before. And so what I had done is I had sent it to the brokerage of the Michigan's insurance policy, which I found on the policy. And I went and Googled the definition of, insurance broker. And the broker, as it turns out, has a fiduciary duty to the insured. I said, well, excellent. I'm the insured, right? I know that state of Michigan is. It says so on the policy. It doesn't say that I am, but I'm just going to say that I am. I'm the additional insured, Robert Allen Ritlewski. This is my ID number. This is my EIN. I do have an EIN in my name, Robert Allen Ritlewski, that I got as a sole proprietor from the IRS by going to the IRS website and asking for one. Right? So to me, this Michigan ID number, this authenticates my natural person, and the EIN authenticates my artificial person, which are both Robert Allen Ritlewski. But to me, they're both my property because I'm a spirit. This is just shit this is things that God gave me on the earth. These are my intangible rights. I'm claiming them. They're mine. So, but myself, well, I'm an immortal living spirit created in the image of God, and I'm here as one of his people. And I'm Robert Allen Ritlewski, a 62 years old citizen of the United States, veteran active member of the Armed Forces of the United States, elector of Michigan State House of Representatives District 73, and an additional insured of policy number MGL 0185248, files this statement of claim for damages caused by state of Michigan's intentional torts. Well, there you are. I pretty much, told them who I was and what I was there for. By the doctrine of strict liability, important stuff, write that down. Claimant was damaged by state of Michigan's malicious prosecution. Write that down. Under state of Michigan's court file number, which we just looked at, and the uniform law citation, which we just looked at. Which again, both of those at the very top say state of Michigan. Right? Doesn't matter you go to the county court or the city cop gave it to you. And my idea is, well, we get to go against all of their insurances, but I went to the state first, right? Because their name is on the paperwork. No agent, officer, or employee of the state of Michigan complied with the supreme law of the land and federal law to be empowered to enforce laws of the United States, Michigan Vehicle Code, or any other public law. That's what most of my videos are about, me bitching about things like this, that these people don't have an oath of office. They didn't use their full legal name on their oath of office, and it doesn't have the right words, and, they're only pretending to be in office. And so they're enemies of the United States, and they should be arrested. Right? You get a chance to cure your mistake, but if you don't do it, it's time to be arrested. Today it's a mistake. Tomorrow it's an omission. And omissions are offenses, and offenses can be charged, and it doesn't need to be a civilian court. As far as I'm concerned, the military is going to come to it. Yes, the Army will take them out of their office. Persons claiming authority under the United States have an obligation to comply with the 6th article of the Constitution of the United States. It can't be any simpler than that. You got to comply with the freaking Constitution. And Section 101 of Title 4 of the United States Code prior to exercising any authority. No state of Michigan officer, agent, or employee can prove compliance. Get it? Nobody's done these things. It's strict liability tort. I don't have to prove that they meant to do it. I don't have to say that I was wrong in the first place. They didn't do it right, so I was damaged. And so what the damages are, or for the fact that there was an occurrence of damage, not the amount of the damages that were caused, just the fact that you were damaged is being paid. Right? Now the damages caused, well, that'd be paid some other way. But this is for the damage. That's my understanding. Okay, so persons claiming authority under the United States have an obligation to comply with. I think I read that one. Other recorded strict liability offenses. That's another word, offenses, right? That's what these particular covered offenses are intentional torts that they end up defining as a term of offense. Then you go to offense, it tells you, what it is. So I'm trying to use their words. By state of Michigan on claimant include terrorism. They actually have coverage for terrorism with a $5 million settlement. We won't pay more than $5 million settlement. Terrorism, false arrest and imprisonment, injury to my being, waste of my estate, and concealment of my active military service. A search of state of Michigan's records will uncover proof of these intentional torts. So I didn't try to list everything that I had. Right? I just said I got other things that's in their records. Let's just go get the records. And for me, I'm using this one as the doorway to get in and get everything taken care of one time. That's the intention of this document. Take the one you have and use it to get all the shit out in the light and get it figured out. Claimant is an injured party of intentional tort covered offenses described as personal and advertising injury, another particular term they use, terrorism, bodily injury, property damage within the state of Michigan's commercial general liability insurance policy. It's plainly written. Claimant demands a settlement for damages at the state of Michigan correct records that contributed to the state of Michigan's erroneous presumption of authority over the claimant and acknowledgement of claimant's ongoing military service. AM Winds Brokerage Midwest is the insurance broker owing a duty to facilitate claimant's relief, and claimant is in expectation of AMS Winds Brokerage Midwest execution of its duty. Now, I don't know if we're always going to be able to identify who the broker is, but in this case it did, so that's how I did it. And I'm doing another one very similar. That's against the county that's included in this, right? Where's that one at? It's just slightly different, but it was the same thing because they use different words, and I think we'll look at this later. But you get the idea what I did, right? Now, one of the things I found in the administrative guide to state government, and so this is something to check on, it says executive branch departments and subunits shall obtain all insurance or insurance-related service in conformance with procedures established by the Department of Technology, Management, and Budget. That's the people that I got the policy from. And shall comply with standardized risk management practices and procedures established by the Department of Technology, Management, and Budget. Then I talked about this act, which I haven't read yet. But this says executive branch departments. And so the policy they sent me says State of Michigan on. So I don't know how many different styles of policies this Department of Technology and Management Budget has. But I know now I'm going to go back and ask for some other ones to see what else they have. Right? Basically, we need to find the record, like the index of all the different liability policies that the state has. Maybe that's what I'll ask for. But at the time, I just said, well, I want the one for the state of Michigan, and they sent it to me. And we're going to look at that right here in just a second, so hang on. Hey, one other important detail I forget was this idea of what it says in the 6th article of the Constitution and Section 101, Title 4, United States Code. So, of course, in the Constitution, in the 6th article, it says that you have to take an oath that supports the Constitution and that it cannot have a religious test. No religious test, right? Well, so when Congress goes and takes their oath of office, they have one that says, so help me God in it. So that's a religious test. Theirs is no good. The president, his oath that's in the 2nd article, doesn't say support. It says protect and defend, I think it is, but it doesn't say support. it needs to support the Constitution. And so, sure enough, the Congress, the very first law Congress passed after the ratification of the Constitution, it's in the Volume 1, Statutes at Large, right? Page 23, is the first law of the first Congress after the ratification of the Constitution. 1 Stat, S-T-A-T, 23. It says that, the oath here, this is the oath that satisfies the 6th article of the Constitution. Well, nobody's taken that oath of office, so nobody has complied with the mandates of the law. Because if it says do it in a particular way and it stops, well, you can't add words to it, right? It has to be exactly as it is. And if you want to have another oath, then you have to have a different oath, right? But that oath has to be done just the way it is because, well, that's the way they wrote the frickin' law. And so they try to simulate like they're doing these things, but they're never doing it quite properly. And here's how you can tell on the state level, because this thing that's in Section 101, Title 4, which is, all right, Title 4, flag, seal, seat of government, and the states. And it says, oath by members of legislature and officers. Every member of a state legislature and every executive and judicial officer of a state shall, before he proceeds to execute the duties of his office, take an oath in the following form. To wit, right? Now it's in quotes. IAB, that'd be state your name, put your name there. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, period. That oath right there. Nothing else added to it. Because we're talking about the states now. This is what the federal government wants a state officer to do to satisfy the federal government. Here you go. If the state wants to do something else to satisfy the state, well, that's fine. Do it yourself, but leave ours alone and do this. IAB. Well, let's see if they do this. Let's go and look at, this is supposed to be the governor of the state of Michigan. State of Michigan, County of Ingham. Right? There's no name there. So this isn't the oath that satisfies the... We don't need to go any further. You can't even get past the first word. And then it's wrong. There's no name there. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of governor according to my ability. Then it has this person called Gretchen Whitmer. But that isn't her name. Her full legal name is Gretchen Esther Whitmer, and that's what you have to use in official matters that affect the federal government. It's like, you couldn't, Gretchen Esther Whitmer could not get on an airplane today with that name if her name is as Gretchen Whitmer, if her name is Gretchen Esther Whitmer, because your ID has to have your full legal name on it. Right? That's what this Real ID Act is about. And up in the upper right-hand corner, when you're looking at it, will be a little gold star that says that, hey, this is a Real ID, compliant ID. And when you look at them, it's got the same name on it that's on your birth record. Because to get it, you have to take your freaking birth certificate down there. Right? So that's your legal name. And so this Gretchen Whitmer is not her legal name, and this is illegal. And then in her case, she's supposed to be the governor, and governors can't take an oath of office before a notary. It says so in the law. I did videos on this in the past, right? It's just the way it is. But the biggest tell right from the beginning that anybody could do, because now this is going to apply to anybody who's claiming to have any authority under the state, because they're all taking this oath. This oath doesn't satisfy the frickin' federal law for USC 101. Right? Because it doesn't say, I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, period. No other, nothing else added. That isn't what they did. Now, the other thing with this one is on this, what they do is on the one that's in the state's constitution, the C and the S on Constitution of the state, that's all lowercase. Right? Constitution of this state is a separate document from Constitution of the United States. Where if it was just lower c, Constitution of this lower s or lowercase s state, then it would just mean that it's the same Constitution for both. It's the Constitution of the United States and for Michigan. Right? Which one? The Constitution of the United States. This shows there's two different constitutions. So it's part of the scheme. It's been that way for a long time. I know this shit just happened. We're just living in it where it is today. But, this scheming has been going on for God knows how long, at least since the time of Jesus, right? Because where did they take Jesus when he went to court? They took him to the court of the false accuser, which was some sort of ecclesiastic tribunal, where you're going to, people wearing black robes, could be that's where they're taking you to. But it has a gold fringe flag in there. Well, that should make it a military court. So confusing. Maybe it's just the wrong place to be. Maybe what we need to do is file a claim against their insurance, because they're all businesses. Okay. Give me one more second here. Okay, so I'd say one more thing. In this case, right, how did I get this from for the governor? Well, I just sent a Freedom of Information request to the Election Bureau that handles elections. And so I'd like to have a copy of the oath of office for the governor. And they sent it to me. Right? If you want one from the county, well, send them a Freedom of Information Act. But if you want to go down there, they're in the election division. Right? Anybody who's been elected in the county, that's where their oath of office has to be. And so while you're there, get a copy of their oath of office and their certificate of election. They're supposed to have two things, right? To show they've had the office, that they've been confirmed the office, and then their oath. So them taking an oath is like them accepting the office. Now that it's been accepted, there has to be a confirmation, and that's what the certificate is. Well, if you had those and looked at them, they're all going to have people's fictitious names with a middle initial, or not the name on their driver's license, not their full legal name, right? So they're no good. They're not going to have IAB, won't have their name here. No good, no good, no good. It's all the information you need. It's a tort, right? You don't need to go find anything else wrong to file a complaint. Just tell them they're going to find other things when they go look, because one of the things that they're supposed to do in this process is go investigate. Right? So give them probable cause. Let them go investigate, see what they find. And we'll see what Monday brings. Okay, I want to show you an insurance policy. That's what we're here for. So Freedom of Information Act, response, right? So, hey, right off the bat, I was kind of pissed off because it's like, hey, they didn't put my middle name here, right? Mr. Robert Ritluski didn't send them anything, right? Robert Allen Ritluski sent them something. In fact, I sent it as Staff Sergeant Robert Allen Ritluski. But nevertheless, they said they were going to grant it, and, they even gave me copies of what I had sent them. I have this habit of, when I send something for a FOIA anymore, right, or I'm asking for information from anybody, I really don't care who it is, and I've waited 3, 4, 5 days and don't hear something, then I just I take the same thing and put, do it as a forward and send it to them again, and then make it second notice with the same subject line on it, and that always gets into reply. It's never failed to get a response of some kind, right, where there hadn't been one, and now whoever it is are going to have to reply. What did I ask for? What did I ask for? So this is what I asked for. This is a written request for a complete copy of the commercial general liability insurance policy for the state of Michigan, to include declarations and endorsements. I didn't do this, Sergeant. Maybe that's why. Next time I'll do it. Staff Sergeant Robert Allen Ritluski. Okay, so that's what I asked for, and this is what I got. And then I also asked for what arbitration or other alternative dispute resolution provider has the insurance state of Michigan approved for filing suit pertaining to personal and advertising injury. There's a thing about what they defined a suit as in these insurance policies. And when they say suit, they're talking that it can include arbitration or alternative dispute resolution. So it doesn't need to be judicial. It can be, some kind of administrative process. But then, 4 pages in, it's like, well, notice to our brokers and agents of our claim notification procedure. As part of our continuing effort to provide you with the best service available, all claims, occurrences, incidents, and lawsuits under this policy are to be reported immediately to, and it gave an email address. So, well, that's cool. So the thing I read that I sent to the broker, right, I had also sent to these people here because I had their email address, and that was what the broker said. Well, she said, did you by chance send, and that's when she used this particular term, a copy of what you sent me? And I said, well, I sent my statement of claim to you and to an email address that I had found while I was looking at the policy of the state. He said, okay, well, then they have it, right? So she was confirming they had it. But in here it said, attention policyholder, right? Any person who knowingly or with intent to defraud any insurance company or other person files an application for insurance or statement of claim or statement of claim or statement of claim containing a materially false, incomplete, or misleading information or conceals information concerning any material fact thereto commits a fraudulent insurance act, which is a crime punishable by incarceration and shall also be subject to civil penalties. Shall. Well, excellent. Either pay the claim or give me a penalty. That's where we're at today. Right? A line has been drawn in the sand. I say I got a claim. I have a statement of claim. Right? And so, they always say to state your claim, and, well, that's a statement. And so that's what I did. I called it a statement of claim and sent it to, that's why I had called it at the top. Right? Statement of claim. And, this is just reading what they have in their book and then taking as few of these terms as you need to convey what it is you're trying to say and make it as general as possible and send it to them and, only have to defend whatever they would rebut. But so far, nothing's been rebutted. To report a claim, email it to. Yeah, hey, that's simple enough. All right, what to do in case of an accident? Well, these aren't accidents. These are occurrences or intentional torts, right? They do have accidents. I mean, that does happen, but that isn't what happened to us. An accident is still a wrong. It may have been an accident, but they're still wrong, right? What these policies are for are torts of one kind or another. But there's intentional torts and there's accidental torts. Terrorism, Risk Insurance Act as amended. Ain't that beautiful? Certified act terrorism. And then it went on to define what that is defined, means an act that is certified by the Secretary of the Treasury in consultation with the Secretary of Homeland Security and the Attorney General of the United States to be an act of terrorism, to be a violent act or an act that is dangerous to human life, property, infrastructure, to have resulted in damage within the United States or outside the United States in the case of certain air carriers and vessels or premises of the United States mission, and to have been committed by an individual or individuals as part of an effort to coerce the civilian population of the United States or influence the policy or affect the conduct of the United States government by coercion. Yes, I've been coerced. I'm the population of the United States. I got an ID. Says I'm in Michigan, which is in the United States. Thank you, Jesus. I'm insured. All right, so yeah, I have an active, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a victim of an act of terrorism. And then we got down to, hey, this is the policy. Now, before we go any further, Roe sent me hers for her county. Like this one's 72 pages long, which I thought was long, but hers is 199 pages long, and they sent her four different frickin' policies, all of different varying lengths. And as I was going through hers, I never really got to the page, I don't believe, that said general liability policy, quite the same as this, right? But it had the information that I was looking for, right? Which is basically you're going to try to find the policy number, right? To find out who was insured, and then to find out who did it. So this says producer, and it gives that number, but I don't know that that means that this is the brokerage, because one of the things about producer, it's a term used in insurance, and it doesn't have to be the broker. So that could be identifying somebody else completely, right? It's incorporation by reference. But here was the broker, so I said, well, there's the broker. And I looked at what brokers do and said, hey, they have a fiduciary duty to me. I'm going to be sure to send it to them also. And, I Googled the site or the corporation online and found their website and found out they have all these offices and went to the office that was for Grand Rapids, found an email address and a fax number and said, well, I'm going to fax it and email it. Because I can. And then it gives some numbers that this stuff is worth. Now, terrorism is separate from this. This is just general liability stuff. Right? Personal and advertising injury limit, $1 million. Now, that's the kind of stuff that normally happens to us, where it's a false arrest. Or it's a foreclosure and they're kicking you out of your house, right? That's an invasion of your privacy. Or they kick down your door, whatever it is, right? They enter your space. Well, that's a personal and advertising injury. It's got $1 million limit. Now, they may have also damaged property while they were doing that. So it's $1 million for this. And now what did they do to damage your property? Check, right? It's like, checking boxes on a form and getting a signature and saying, pay the claim. That's where we're at now. I went on to describe itself as an organization. But now check this out. Business description. State government buildings. It doesn't claim to be the government. It claims to be state government buildings. Which makes me suspect, like, okay, well, it just said the executive branches in that other law I found, right, have to have their own executive branch offices. And so, yeah, I'm going to go back and see if these people here, right, care of DTB, risk management, what I should do is ask for DTB's insurance policy. Because I bet you the state of Michigan is, they're an insured on the policy of the DTB risk management's policy. I really think that's how they're doing it in the county. And now that I look at this, because this is care of, right? They're making you, like, this is the place that has the insurance right here. Right, state of Michigan's an insured on the policy of DTMB risk management. I'm asking for that one next. This insurance has been placed with an insurer that is not licensed by the state of Michigan. In case of insolvency, payment or claims may not be guaranteed. Well, that's not so good. No, I don't like it so much. But it has been signed off, and we're going to see what they do. It has all these endorsements that have been added to the document. Change endorsement. Named insured. So, okay, now we're getting to these endorsements to say, well, who's insured on the policy? Well, this says it's the state of Michigan. Right? It doesn't say state of Michigan. It says the state of Michigan. Which is truly the proper name of the style of the state shall be the state of Michigan, is what it said in the preamble of the very first Constitution of Michigan. And then after that, they changed it. For the very first one, the state of Michigan. Its departments, agents, authorities, employees, boards, and commissions, the Michigan Senate, State Building Authority, members, officers, agents, employees, So they got a whole bunch of things that are already listed as being insured. Right? There are additional insureds on the policy. But that's not all. We'll go on. Some more. Michigan House of Representatives. Its officers, agents, and employees. Well, that's interesting because, like this says Michigan House of Representatives. And this said the state of Michigan and Michigan Senate, right? Like, not anything to do with state of Michigan. They're just protected under the policy of state of Michigan. Governor's residence, and then the U.S. Bank National Association as trustees. Associates. Right? So now, who are they the trustee of? What are they If they're the trustee of something, I say that I'm the trustor of whatever it is they're the trustee of. They're holding my property. I'm the trustor and the beneficiary. It's a use. Here, hold my property while I'm gone, right? So Sesta KV Act type stuff. That's what I'm thinking. I bet you these people are the Sesta KV trustee. Because in the Sesta KV Act, it said that, that if you ever return, first of all, we're considered lost beyond the sea. But if we ever return, we're supposed to return to the proper magistrate to get our property back. And they enacted the Sesta KV Act in 1666 on the same day that the Great Fire happened in London and burned all the property records. All the shit got burned. Then they went into endless wars for 100 years, mixed it all up, and pretty soon, well, you know what? Nobody knows who owns the property. It all reverts back to the crown. Right? But they're holding the paper that shows, hey, there is an owner for this, but we're going to have to administer it for them. I don't know that to be true, but, that's my dream is that, hey, here's the proper magistrate to appear before. Because when you look up U.S. Bank National Associates, not association, associates, just the way you see it, you don't find it listed with this address. You don't find it hardly listed at all, except in court cases. But it's not listed doing business. You can't find a phone number for it, so forth and so on. So it's a different kind of entity than the association. Well, then it gets into the bits and pieces about the general commercial liability form, right? And so this is the meat and potatoes that I went through last week when I said read the back of the can, but it was for a different style of insurance. Still for liability insurance, but it was one that I was looking at getting and had downloaded it to read. So this one reads a little bit different. But nevertheless, it's got the same kind of things in it. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time reading these again. What do we need to know in there? I don't think you need to know anything. Or I think you just need to do it. You need to quit looking for trying to understand everything. And if you're going to do it, go ahead and do it. If not, we'll wait and see what happens when I do it. But I've already showed you what I did. It wasn't that difficult. I have a ticket. I said, hey, strict liability, I got a claim. Right? I got the insurance from the DTMB, risk management, by asking for it. Again, all I know now is that it has this care of, and so it's like I'm going to go back now from having read that the different executive branches are supposed to get theirs through here and so forth and so on. And another thing I had done was, where is it that I'm asking for? I think what we're going to find out, at least in Michigan, I'm sure it's the same all over, right? That these state districts are going to be a gateway of some kind that aren't being properly used now, but if they were, they would be the proper place to go. Because to be a representative of a particular district, like I'm in the 73rd district, so there's 110 districts in Michigan. Let's just start there. We got representatives. You got 110 districts in Michigan, and each of these districts has a map. And so everybody in the map is in that district, right? I mean, duh, that's simple enough. And so this district is Michigan State House District 73. Well, that's the proper name. It's on the top of a map. I'm going to use that from now on to say I'm an elector of Michigan State House District 73. Right, Oakfield Township, that's where I live. And you can tell by the way that it's been drawn that it has to do with keeping the, other than to affect the vote, to keep the populations per district within a certain band of, within a certain band. Okay, so now if I come over here and put in 73, let's see, find a representative. Right, Len Affendoulis, District 73. There you go. There's my representative. And if I wanted to contact Lynn, which I have already, because, hey, you can, right? Here it is. Well, you can fill in these blanks, or there's her email address. There's a mailing address. You can set up an appointment to go talk to him. Well, first thing I'll do is get Lynn's oath of office and show it to her and say, look, Lynn, here's what it says in law, and here's yours. I think you've done it wrong. And right, I'm not going to try to alienate Lynn. I'm going to try to make her my advocate, because I am correct. She's my state rep. And so I want my state rep, as it turns out, she's on the Veterans Committee too. I want my state rep to, so what is she repping? She's the government of Michigan. That's what she's the state rep of, government of Michigan. I want her to go tell government of the United States to give me my entitlements that I'm due because they kept me in the military. Right? If you don't have an order, not just a DD-214, but an order, separation order, it says you've been separated from custody and control of the military, well, then you're still in, and you've either been discharged, or not discharged, you've either been put on some kind of disability retirement, or you've been put in the reserves, or they've done something with you. But, you're still collecting your time, and there's things that you get because you're in. You should have an ID card. Well, so now I'm going to I'll make all that her problem. Let her go figure it out. But what I found out, and I think it was Rosita, that, we had looked at these things before. And I remember that Rosita had emailed her state rep saying that she was a constituent of the state rep, And, whoever it was that works in the office wrote back and said that, no, she wasn't. It's like, well, hell, what do you do with that, right? I mean, this is back when we first learned stuff. Well, no, she wasn't. What does that mean? Well, this is because of the way they do addresses. This is so important. It's going to be another video where I'm going to show this addressing. Well, I think I'll have to show it today since I talked about it. But that they want you to put your street and number, right? So my street is 14 Mile Road. My number is 10955. So if I put 10955 14 Mile Road the way I normally would, right, that would be invalid data in that box, and they would say, well, no, you're not in the hers. You didn't do it right. That's all they have to have. The Johnson Tittles are wrong. But they had told her that, no, you're not. And it's like, okay, well, how would you change that, right? Because, yeah, she should be. Well, it's only because your address shows you're in the wrong jurisdiction. And so, another thing I'm working on is this thing with the address. So because I'm a resident of the state of Michigan, I'm wondering if my residence address, which is supposed to be a place, right, is really the Michigan House of Representatives, which has an address, right? Here's the address for it. If I should be using that as my residence address. My mailing address is where the mail comes. That's different. But this is my residence address. Make myself a resident of the Anderson House. Right? House. That's a big deal, right? That's, house. House business office. And this is the other thing. They have a business office, which would mean to me, since they're only an additional insured on the state of Michigan's insurance policy, that they have their own. Okay, so I'm looking for other insurance policies as we're going through this, right? But, yeah, it opened up a whole can of things to go look at that, I hadn't known existed before, and I'm glad that I have, and now I'm looking. So this is the one for the state, right? I don't know how much more I need to show in this because it goes on and on and on. Additional insured, right? Additional insured, they got the city of Highland Park. Why is that one particular city an additional insured? So I went to look, and here in the last year, they're supposed to have changed their charter, which would be interesting. That, why would they have just changed their charter? So I think it's because that someplace, somewhere, there has to be something that's actually got all the ducks in a row within the state so it can be used as the gateway for whatever they do. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Read too many novels or something. Additional insured, mortgagee, assignee, receiver. Well, I say I'm a mortgagee of the state of Michigan, right? Everything they're doing on my signature. They owe me. That made me an insured. So, by reading through here, I said, okay, that's enough reason to say I'm an insured, and I'm going to, and I did. Well, that was their, it was the states. And the way I got the counties was they wanted to fill out a form, right? I couldn't just write it the way I normally do. They sent me a form, said fill out the form. So I did. Freedom of Information Act request, Robert Allen Rutluski, requesting under this act the following records. Joint powers agreement between Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority, County of Montcalm. And I had to get the... Oh, hang on a second. Yeah, there were actually two of them I had to get. By reading the policy, they talked about this joint powers agreement saying how things were done, so I had to get that also. So it was a two-step process with the county, but that's why I asked for the first time. County of Montcalm, Michigan's commercial general liability insurance policy. Right? Did a FOIA request. I sent it in on the 2nd, and she sent it back on the 2nd. I mean, it was like, well, thank you very much. Michigan County Controller. And here we go. And it's, this, so what they do with the county, right, here's the insured county. They're working through this thing called the Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority, which it says is created by authority granted by the law of the state of Michigan to provide risk financing and risk management services to eligible Michigan local governments. MMRMA is a separate legal and administrative entity as permitted by Michigan law. County of Montcalm agrees, right? So that's County of Montcalm is the member, right? Hereinafter member. So the member is aware, right? Member. Who? County of Montcalm. The provisions of the Joint Powers Agreement, coverage documents, reissue agreements, MMRMA rules, regulations, administrative procedures shall prevail in any dispute, right? So they have all these things that, it may have to go and find all of them to figure out exactly what to do, right? Or it could be as simple as just say, well, again, I say that I'm insured. I'm going to file a statement of claim with you and see if you tell me the same thing that the state did, that the state's broker did. So again, with the state's broker, because it says state government buildings is the business, it doesn't say anything about being the government. If for some reason they say they're not going to cover this claim, then it would be because they're hiding under some other insurance that the entity had, the DM Management and Budget Office, whatever it was, had. I like to have that right. Where was that at? Way up here at the top. Right there. DTMB, State, or DT, whatever that's, Department of something and Management and Budget. Right? So this isn't the same thing, but it's kind of like the same thing. This is an organization they put together where all the counties, all the cities, all these entities that consider themselves a local government in Michigan have combined under to do their insurance under. So it could be that MMRMA actually has the insurance, and the County of Montcalm is just an insured party, an additional insured on their policy. But here it is: liability $5,000, judicial $100,000, volunteer medical payments, vehicle no fault, terrorism $5 million, liability $5 million, $5,000. No, $5 million. Terrorism $5 million. Right? Property and crime. Oh, we can get more. Da 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 da. Unreported property, 5 million. So there's plenty of, things to tap from terrorism. 50 million for the member. Right? Property and crime, limits of coverage per occurrence. Right? So, hey, I had an occurrence. It could pay up to $50 million. So, yeah, that'd be a good reason to fill the papers out. Da, 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 da. Joint powers, I don't know if this had anything. Well, it did. See, they did theirs wrong. They put everything under personal injury. On the states, it's under personal and advertising injury. And this one, it's under personal injury. And we'll get to, what that is when we get to the definitions. But exclusions, I'm not looking for a reason to be excluded, right? They're going to have to tell me I'm excluded. That's the only exclusion that counts. Right, but an exclusion, any criminal act to the person or entity proven, admitted, or non-contested in either criminal, civil, or administrative proceeding to have committed such act. The act of one or more persons committing a criminal act will not, in the application of the exclusion, be imputed to any other person or entity not having knowledge or not knowingly and with intent committed, permitted, or authorized criminal act. So the state of Michigan doesn't need to know that it happened. As long as they don't know that it happened, they have to pay the crime. Right? They have to pay the insurance. Damages, which the member is obligated to pay for reason of breach of contract, it says that those aren't covered. So you don't want to make it a breach of contract, you want to make it a tort. Terrorism, except as under 5, well, okay, fine. Whatever. I'll just put it in. Right? Put it in, put the words on, and see what they have to say. So here's all these words then. In this case, they, bold the word, and now all the bold words have a definition. Bodily injury means bodily injury, harm, sickness, or disease sustained by a natural person, including death resulting from. Right? Harm means harm. Well, that's a pretty broad term. Yeah, it's harm. Covered contract, tort liability. Only or other to pay damages to a third party. So I'm saying that's why I have tort damages. Lawsuit means a suit law, not in equity. Okay. Member means municipal corporation. Occurrence means an event or continuous repeated exposure. Personal injury means personal injury other than bodily injury, as defined, means false arrest or detention, malicious prosecution, libel, slander, violation of privacy, violation of civil statutory constitutional rights, discrimination or harassment arising out of employment of law enforcement operations. It can't be any clearer. That's what you need to complain about. You are the victim of an occurrence of personal injury. Right? And the occurrence is whatever it was. Wrongful act means the actual or alleged error, misstatement, act, omission, neglect, or breach of official duty, including misfeasance, malfeasance, nonfeasance. They did it wrong, it's wrong. Right? You didn't put my Social Security number on the ticket. It's an omission. It's wrong. You're going to have to pay me now. Right? Now, that may get, that may be what the settlement's about. Well, what are we going to settle for that wrong? But that's fine. I'm happy to settle. Limited liability coverage for terrorism. Right? Definitions. For the purpose of this section, terrorism shall mean an act including but not limited to use of force or violence or threat thereof of any person or group or persons, whether acting alone or on behalf or in connection with any organization or governments, committed for political, religious, ideological, or similar purposes, including the intentional the intention to influence any government and or to put the public or any section of the public in fear. Jeepers, it's not hard to reach that level, right, as far as the insurance company is concerned. It goes on to say what they are, and bioterrorism. So basically, a chemtrail is bioterrorism, according to this. For the purpose of this section, bioterrorism, nuclear terrorism, chemical terrorism, and designated release of germs that cause epidemical disease. Is that happening right now? Sure. They're saying it's man-made, so put in a claim. Right? Does the government of China have liability insurance in the United States that we can file a claim against? Right? Because they're doing business in the United States, so we should be covered by their insurance. Included but not limited to the use of force or violence and or threat thereof involving or resulting in release of biological, chemical agents, nuclear materials, or germs by persons or groups of persons, whether acting alone or on behalf or in connection with any organization, government, apparently committed for political, religious, ideological, or similar purposes, including the intention to influence any government and or public, any section of public in fear. Go outside and look. I did earlier, and it was a beautiful blue day this morning, and they had just been peppering the sky with chemtrails. Hey, overflowed sewage system. Ever had that happen? You can put a claim against the county's insurance policy. You may be able to put one against your homeowner's policy, but you can put it against the county. And then members' duties. Okay, what do we got here? In the event of an incurrence, written notice given members' name and other reasonable obtained information such as time, place, circumstances, okay. So we have an occurrence. The member shall immediately forward to MMRMA every claim, demand, notice, summons, complaint, or other process received. Got it. Any claim or lawsuit. So apparently they're not the same thing, right? Lawsuit is in law, not in equity. So I'm going to say a claim must be in equity because they already have law covered. Claim, lawsuit. MMRMA has the right and duty to defend any lawsuit, right? So they have to defend lawsuits seeking money damages. MMRMA may, at its discretion, investigate any occurrence and settle any claim or lawsuit that may result from any subject coverage. So, you could have them defend it, or you could just have them pay it. I don't want them to defend it. I want them to pay, right? I'm not looking to be defended. I'm looking to be paid. So I want a settlement. So I'm going to do a claim. The settlement authority extends to any subject of coverage. But I believe this is what they're actually doing in court, right? They make it look like we're going to this court and this process going on, but somebody's actually putting a claim against your insurance policies, right? Because like when they say that someone's going to federal court for negligence, right? Liable or slander. They don't say liable or slander, but they say negligence. But you can actually sue, file a claim for liable or slander in these policies. Dispute of where they're going to be determined at. Okay, that's simple enough. Right, municipal corporation agrees to act on behalf of each covered person, with respect to the giving and receiving of notice of claim or cancellation. Well, so that's what I did. Okay. I do want to show you something else. Let me go find it. Hang on here. Okay, so this was better defined. That's sometimes why it's better to look at more than one document. Under the state's policy where they had the personal and advertising injury. Because, it's important you can see all the different things it could be used for. Right? Other than, including consequential bodily injury, arising out of or one or more of the following offenses: false arrest, detention, or imprisonment, malicious prosecution, the wrongful eviction from, wrongful entry into, or evasion of right of private occupancy of a room, dwelling, or premise that a person occupies, committed by or on behalf of its owner, landlord, or leaseor. Well, when they come drag you out of your house, for foreclosure, that's what happened. It's a wrongful eviction. Oral or written publication in any manner of material that slanders or libels a person, organization, disparages person, organization, goods, products, or services. That would be everything from putting it in the newspaper, publishing that you're going to be foreclosed on, to putting your mugshot out, or that you've been arrested, or whatever else they put in the newspaper. Right? Again, those are intentional torts. It's done intentionally so that there's a record that it happened. So if you're smart enough to go find the record, you can go file a claim against the insurance. They're providing us plenty of evidence. We just got to go get the evidence and find out who to give it to. Or a written publication, any manner violates a person's right to privacy. Mugshot. The use of another person's advertising idea in your advertising, infringing upon copyright, trade dress, or slogan in your advertisement. Well, my name's mine. I copyright my name then. That's mine. I don't know if you can do that, but you can copyright your driver's license number. That should be yours. Okay, so that's what's going on with these. And so for the same occurrence, which was those couple of tickets that started in a parking lot in Greenville, Michigan, by a Greenville, city cop that had never seen a state of Michigan plate. Actually, it says Michigan plate, and it says sample on it. And I say, yeah, I got it from the state of Michigan. That's what I'm driving on. Well, he took it, gave me a ticket for not having one, and for having multiple licenses or no license, yet saying I had a license by putting it into the box and so forth and so on. And, all those are extraneous facts that you could go prove, but the easiest one to prove is the fact that 4 USC 101 shows the way they have to have done their oath of office, and that's to satisfy the federal government. And if you can't find one just that way, then they didn't do it. Didn't happen. It's a tort. They don't have the authority to enforce the laws that they're about to try to enforce on you. And so part of this is, well then, not only pay me for the damage, now fix the frickin' record so it doesn't happen again. You don't have any authority over me. Especially me. I'm still in the military, brother. I'm under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. This, whatever these things are, they don't have any authority. They can take me to the post and say that I messed up, but, they don't have any authority to try me. So they're concealing my military service. And so all these things are going to help me, in the long run to get the other thing I'm really trying to get, which is, that retirement pay that's sitting in the account of the Military Retirement Fund. If you're a veteran, go look at it. It's got your money in there. You'll find a 2018 audit, and if you read through it, you'll get to a page that shows, it'll tell you how much is in there, how much they get a year, how much they give out, da-da-da-da. And you'll see that the Congress gives more than enough money to cover all the payments of insurance for any 1 year. Then why is there $1 trillion of money in the fund? Only one reason, because it didn't go to the retiree or the retiree's survivors. That'll be its own, Ricky Lake show. This is what I did now with the Montcalm County after looking at their policy. Montcalm County, Michigan, Montcalm County Controller, because that was they had talked about that all they had, that somebody had to do all the in between the covered person right? And uh, the insurance company. And so in this other thing where they talked about, this is like the joint powers agreement. In here, it talks about that they need to appoint somebody that they end up calling, what would they call that person, right? Tort or contract, general fund, member representative. So I came to believe then the member representative in this case must be this guy here, who's actually the controller for the county, although he has since left office. Left in a hurry. Something happened here in the county here in the last couple months, I guess. A big shakeup going on. Let's, knock, knock, knock. Coming back for more. So that's where that all is. Okay. I guess all I'm going to do now is read what I sent to the county, and then I'll call this done as far as a video. But this is really how simple it is, right? This is all based on a ticket, right? Just tickets. Where I put, let's go into Montcalm County, Michigan, to the controller. The insured is County of Montcalm. They're called the member, right? They had a member number. All that stuff is coming off of here. There's the member number. There's the insured, the member. There's the representative. There's this regional risk manager, which I don't know who they are, but I'm going to call them somebody, and I think I'll call them. I'll close some of these here. The regional risk manager, believing that they have something to do with getting this done. So hang on a second, please. Oh, yeah, I really need some help paying my bills, folks. Can I show that one more time without offending you? Right? Can you please, especially if you're still watching this video, jeepers, an hour and a half in. PayPal, Rob Ryder, AOL.com. Or send it in the mail. Robert Allen Ritlewski, 10955 42 Railroad Northeast, Rockford, Michigan, 49341. All right. What did I send to the county? Again, I'm hoping that, I get a call on Monday morning and this thing is rocking and rolling. But we'll see what happens. So, RE, commercial general liability insurance claim for damages for strict liability intentional torts, right? That's what I'm saying they did. Strict liability intentional torts. You can see the blanks are in the paper. That's intentional. Those are omissions, right? And by strict liability, because that's there, it's a tort. Pay the claim for damages. They don't have an oath of office. It doesn't say I, A, B, and have their name in it. Then it's wrong. It's a tort. They didn't comply with 4 U.S.C. 101. And that's from the governor on down. Everybody in your state's got the same fucking problem. Right down to the dog catcher. Okay, so who's the covered person? Because that was another term they used, covered person. Well, that'd be me, Robert Allen Ritlewski, and I'm going to call myself claimant. Right? I'm trying to set these up so I can just use these terms from now on, because that seems to be how they do it. So what the hell? I'll just do it the way they're used to seeing it, and it will be good for everybody. Yes, that's my Michigan ID number. Yeah, that's the Robert Allen Ritlewski we're talking about, because your name isn't quite enough. It may identify you, but it doesn't authenticate your identification. That's done with the ID card and the EIN number. The ID card authenticates my natural person. The EIN authenticates my artificial person. They're both named Robert Allen Ritlewski. I have an EIN. It says Robert Allen Ritlewski is a business. So Robert Allen Ritlewski as a business, sole proprietor, could go now and get general liability insurance as a housekeeper. Watch the previous video I did on Read the Back of the Can for $30 a month, and I would be covered. In fact, if I had that, I would turn around and immediately make the state of Michigan and insure it on my policy and just send it to them. There, you guys are covered. Or if I harm you, you're covered. Now, if you have a claim, bring it in, and the city or the insurance company will investigate if I'm right or wrong. So what did I say? Because again, this, I don't want to write more than a page. Robert Allen Ritlewski, a 62 years old citizen of the United States, veteran enlistee of the Armed Forces of the United States, Elector, Michigan State House of Representatives, District 73, a covered person under member policy, files this statement of claim for occurrences or damages by member. Because in this case, they don't have a policy number on there, and so whatever they give, if you don't have a policy number, don't worry about it. Just say member policy. When I know better, I'll tell you better. But for today, that was my thinking. By the doctrine of strict liability, claimant was damaged by a member malicious prosecution of State of Michigan uniform law citation ticket. All right, so what was the county involved in? Well, the one letter came from the State of Michigan to me, but the ticket went to the county, and the county is the one that prosecuted it, right? So I'm saying that they're involved because of the ticket. Now, there are other things they're involved with me, but my idea is I just need one thing to open up the can of worms. All right, and now we'll go do some fishing, see what else we find. No agent, officer, or employee of the State of Michigan or member, right? State of Michigan or member, because now it's not the State of Michigan, now the member is the County of Montcalm. But neither, no agent, officer, or employee of the State of Michigan or member complied with the supreme law of the land, that would be the Constitution, and federal law to be empowered to enforce the laws of the United States, Michigan Vehicle Code, or any other public law. Hey, I may have said that before. Persons claiming authority under the United States have an obligation to comply with the 6th Article of the Constitution of the United States and Section 101, Title 4, United States Code prior to exercising any authority. No member, officer, agent, or employee can prove compliance. And what do they need to prove compliance? They need to provide you a copy of an oath of office. I don't have an oath anymore. Sorry. That says IAB and has our name in it. 4 USC 101. Right? Get a copy, carry it around your wallet. And say, if you don't have one of these, you don't have any authority. Where was I? Here it was. Okay, and so I may have said this different now too. Normally you put like 4 USC, that funny looking S 101, right, and then put the title what it is. But I spelt it out. But I may have put in quotes now or in parentheses 4 USC 101 just to use the numbering so that because it had been used. Other recorded strict liability occurrences by the member that damage claimant include terrorism, false arrest and imprisonment, injury to my spirit being, waste of my estate, concealment of my active military service, a search of the State of Michigan and members' records will uncover proof of claim. There's an interesting thing about this general liability insurance, right? You're coming to claim the damages now, but the damages happen whenever the occurrence was. So as long as the member was covered under insurance at the time of the damage of the occurrence, you can claim the damages. So I've spent a few days in their jail before, some years ago, or when I got picked up for a speeding ticket and got taken there, or whatever the hell the reason was that they drug my ass down to, the county of Montcalm. Well, I'm claiming all of those. I'm just using this one as the gateway to say, well, there's other ones you need to go investigate. So I hope to have that conversation with the agent and tell them you need to go investigate and, find them all. Let's get them all taken care of at one time. Because they put me in fear. That's a pretty low hurdle to have to get over. Claimant is an injured party of intentional tort, covered offenses described as personal and advertising injury, terrorism, bodily injury, property damage within member commercial general liability insurance policy. Claimant demands a settlement for damages and the member correct its records and restores claimant's good name. Because this is where the court is. The 64B district court is at the county, and so is the circuit court. And it says that the courts, you go to the court's website, that the court's risk management is covered under the county's policy. So even though I'm going to the court, it's the county's fault. Right? Even though I end up going to the jail cell of the sheriff, it's the county's fault. By agreement, the member municipal corporation agrees to act on behalf of each covered person with respect to giving and receiving a notice of claim. Remember, it said that in the boilerplate of the agreement. So, claimant is an expectation of Montcalm County, Michigan employees' swift execution of this duty owed claimant. So, the actual name of the um, municipality is Montcalm County, Michigan, right? Now, I'm saying that's a municipal corporation, and the municipal corporation then went and it joined this group under an entity it created called the County of Montcalm, and it got the insurance to cover the municipality. However, they did it, right? This word game of what is County of Montcalm and Montcalm County, they're obviously different. Normally, you would see County of Montcalm, State of Michigan, right? Which is different than Montcalm County, Michigan. They're two different jurisdictions. So, yeah, so if you've been to court for any reason, foreclosure, criminal, traffic, tax, now these are state courts. I don't know how to do it with the federal court yet, but, this is state matters, and take care of what's close by first. Put a claim in. The fact that the county didn't put, well, how's the best way to handle this? If you go look, if you own a house, the taxes that you pay, right? They don't have the same name or legal or description of property on the property tax assessment or tax bill or whatever. It's not the same as what's on your deed that you say makes you the owner. Now your deed's messed up too, but at least at this point, well, neither of them, they don't match. So you're paying taxes for something you didn't claim to buy. Or what they filed as your deed is incorrect because you're paying taxes on something over here, right? So how come that's not what is in the deed that was put into the record? All this shit happened through the county, right? But at the end of the day, it goes to the state of Michigan or state of. So, make the state a party to it, make the county a party to it, go to the local entity, get their insurance policy, make them a party to it. So in this case, right, I've gone to the state and I've gone to the county and I got to get a hold of the city of Greenville yet, ask them for their insurance policy, and I'll send them one too. But I already know that their policy is under this entity. I just don't know what their member number is. Or maybe I do. They may have already sent it to me. I have to go look again. I asked for something for somebody some time ago and I didn't know what to do with it. But, now I'm doing something with it. So I put this in on over the weekend. I haven't heard anything yet. But, the other one I did, I put it on Friday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And when did I do this? 1:03 p.m. And I said, the attachment is an image of a statement of claims I faxed the Grand Rapids officer, should have said office, earlier today pertaining to an additional insured liability insurance claim involving intentional torts and covered offenses on a policy that this Amwins brokered. My understanding of this is that as the broker, I missed some words there, Amwins has a fiduciary duty to me as the additional insured. So I wanted to point out to them, look, you're the broker, I'm the insured, you owe me a duty. I'm in expectation of quick settlement agreeable to all parties being achieved as a result of your zeal to execute your duty. Well, I'll be dang if this nice lady, right, within an hour and a half, she called me and said, hey, she had forwarded it to the agent. Said, now they said you already did. And I said, yeah, I found their email address. Okay, yeah, well, it's been forwarded. That wasn't the word she used. She used some other word. I said, well, is that good for me or bad for me? And she said, oh, that's good. You have a claim. Thank you very much. I'll wait to hear from the insurance company. I'll wait till the end of Monday, and by Tuesday I'll be calling them. But hey, that's where it is today, and all of that was gotten by just Freedom of Information request. If you go back to the beginning, you'll see how I did it to get it from the state. But go to your state, to whoever has the insurance, and ask for a copy. And somehow we got to figure out how to get all the different types of insurances, because, like I said in Rosita's case, in fact, I'll show you that just to show you, that there could be more than one. In fact, I'm sure there is. Yeah, so Monroe asked Kane County, Illinois, for their information. She got 1, 2, 3, 4 different documents, right? This one's 62 pages long, and it's policyholders. I don't know. I haven't really had a chance to study them much because I was doing my own stuff. But here we go. Name of the insured. Good enough. Right on mine, it said the name of the insured was County of Montcalm. This one says the name of the insured is Kane County, IL. Whatever they have. Here's the broker. Now, the broker is the one that owes the duty to the insured. So, you want to call yourself an additional insured. And here's the insurer, right? The one's providing the insurance. So the broker doesn't provide the insurance. They just go find the thing for the insured to use, right? So they are the ones that recommended using this one here. But this is the place that needs to pay, right? So the broker is the one that's supposed to work for the insured, make sure the insured does what they're supposed to do. What type they have, policy number, There's all the general information that you need. We got terrorism premium. Enterprise security, privacy regulation, media liability, business interruption, send notice of claims. There you go. Send all other notices too. Send one to both. What the hell? All right, send a statement of facts. You're going to send a notice of claim here and send, a statement of claim, because they say to state your claim. So I put notice, statement of claim. Do we need to do it to that level? Are we going to have the same problem with the insurance companies that we seem to have with the government, the courts, attorneys, clerks, the church? They're all fork-tongued liars, man. Where's the truth speaker? Well, the one that will at least look at the truth. So, blah, blah, blah. This one goes on and on and on. I don't really know what it is. Then they had another one. This is a different style that has to do with a domestic crisis event, a man-made emergency situation, limited to an explosion, arson, bombing, workplace violence, structural fire, vehicle accident occurring entirely, right, or a vehicular accident in the United States. If you have a vehicle accident, you can put a claim against the state's insurance. According to this, it doesn't, just say you're uninsured and say you want to put a claim because it says that you can. So that's an interesting one. Then this one from Chubb. What was Chubb about? The Chubb Group Insurance. Classic insurance program. Well, what does that mean? What are we insuring? Who's the producer? Right, so the producer, the insurer, the agent, the broker, those are all terms that, if you were reading these and saw them, you'd want to copy and paste and keep it for later. Now look, this is for Kane County, or County of Kane. Go check that out. The one was Kane County, ill, and this is County of Kane. Right, so it isn't necessarily the insurance companies clouding this up. It's the fact that they have all these different insurances. And so, I think we need to be asking for all the liability insurance policies that the controller pays for. Right, name of insured and mailing address, County of Kane. I think I already got rid of it. Oh, well. And then there was this one, which was, who's insured on this one? Right? Insured, Kane County. Right? At Kane County ill, Kane County, County of Kane. 3 different insureds. File something against all their insurance policies. Right? Basically file the same thing against all the insurance policies. Just change, the heading or whatever, but right, to report SIR claims to Trident. Now, an SIR, that's the part that the policyholder has to pay before it goes to the insurance. It's like their deductible. Right? So if you had any of these, you're supposed to file a claim. Class actions, civil rights claims, bad faith, unfair claim practices, extra contractual claims, property loss, involving arson, serious burns, massive internal injuries, significant disfigurement, permanent injuries, fatalities. This is some, I don't know what this is. This is like an additional or higher level or whatever, but what I know is it's insurance, and it says if you have any questions, contact the general counsel. I think somebody should. Right? Tell me what they said. Contact the department. Common policy declarations, retain limit policy, right? Who's the insured? Kane County. 3 different insurance policies have 3 different insureds on them. Ain't that some stuff? Right? So, eventually there won't be any place else to hide the peanut. Because I already been told I had a claim. Okay, well, I'll go get all the other insurances and put the same thing in and see if they all tell me I have a claim. And see if they pay them. Here's all the endorsements. All these things that were added as a reason or not a reason to pay. It goes on and on and on. I don't want to read them all. Anyways, this is this is part of gathering your evidence to combine onto one little piece of paper that's going to use your set of facts, whatever it is you're going to use as your evidence of a tort, and send it to the insurance company or of whoever it is. And, well, that's where it is. We'll see if they're going to pay. Because it's per occurrence or per offense or whatever. And so, it doesn't matter. Well, I guess it could matter how severe the tort is. Right? That's where the negotiation will come in as far as what its value is worth. But all it says is that for terrorism, right, it's got a $5 million per occurrence limit. Okay, well, I'm happy with that. Then pay that. Right? I'm not going to do it as a lawsuit. I don't want you to defend it. I just want you to pay it. Very good. Okay, I hope you all got something out of this. And again, because it ain't done till it's over, I need you to contribute. Please, 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 please. By PayPal or send it to me in the mail. Do it today. Stop what you're doing. Do it immediately if you can. Because if you're still watching, do it right now. Just do it as the end of this video. Write the check. Put it in the envelope. Put the stamp on. Go take it to the mailbox. Right? Don't stop until you've done that. Or contact PayPal and use your PayPal account and pay me. If you want to use PayPal and you don't have an account, well, then send me an email and say you want to donate, I don't know, $100, whatever the number is, and I'll send you an invoice from PayPal for that amount, and you can use your credit card. Otherwise, send it in the mail. But please do send it. Don't just talk about it. Do it. And those of you that had, thank you so much. Every month, I'm so happy because I do have a few people that do, and it's it's the bread and butter of making a stab at paying the bills, but it never covers rent and food and electricity and the internet, the things I have to have. So please help me. Okay, let's leave it there, and you all have a wonderful Sunday. We'll see you now. Bye-bye.